Clix and Duke are by far the most improved duo of the season. They quickly turned into a formidable duo with flawless execution throughout every stage of the game. Let's find out how. There isn't too much to talk about early game besides they're uncon, they quickly loot, and they're going to be able to leave faster than most players. This puts them leaving their POI at about 45 seconds before first zone starts moving. Here's the real genius, the Storm Surge plan that these two have. They're going to get some tags while they rotate into their Storm Surge position. This is clearly a planned position. If they get zoned, they want to base on this hill. So they're going to build up high. Clix is going to go down to refarm mats. Duke is going to chill up there, make sure no one's going to push them. Once Clix fully gets his materials refarmed, Clix is going to go up into the tower that Duke's in. Duke is going to expand to the other side of the hill, and they are going to position themselves on both ends to cover more ground and open up more potential tags. This gives them anyone on this side of the map that's rotating through, they're going to be able to shoot because they have so much ground that they're covering. They even expand a little further, but when Clix sees a team moving in, he's going to do something really smart that I haven't seen many players do. Instead of just leaving another base for a team to walk up to, Clix is going to destroy his base, then get a little bit closer to Duke's just in case something happens. When Surge appears, this strategy puts them well above, and we can see it has been executed to perfection. They're going to be separated with a lot of teams nearby. This could be a massive problem for them, but check the timing. Clix and Dukes know that someone around them will need Storm Surge, and they're going to see that one of these two players is a solo, or even if they decide to jump a duo, you don't want to be fighting that 1v2. They identify this timing, they know they can no longer chill in the separated position, and they begin to move closer together. Now, instead of one player going to the other, they're actually going to be comfortable with their surge because of the work they already put in, and try and meet in the middle, which is a sanctuary building. Now, exactly what they were trying to avoid winds up happening, as a team is going to be pushing them, knowing that that team pushing them needs Storm Surge. Instead of trying to fight this, they're going to just build some space, and once they see an opportunity, they're going to quickly build a couple of boxes away, gain some distance from this team, and clear themselves out. They want to create all that distance. They don't want to be fighting a shambles Storm Surge fight because they are well up above, at least for the moment, and going to put themselves in a much better position to play the late game. Let's jump ahead to 4th zone, where for the first time, they're going to get somewhat close to Storm Surge issues. Not really going to have too much problems because they're being proactive. We can see them dip below for a second, but their plan is going to be a great one. They sit in a position that's by a lot of bushes. It gives them pretty much a 360-degree view of the entirety of 4th zone. They do this without even having to build a tower up, and players are very scared to shoot into bushes unless they're desperate. You don't want to try and make a trade against a player in a bush you can't see versus someone who is already in the bush maybe looking at you. This is what they're going to do. Duke and Clix are going to sit in this bush, wait for small openings, and hit each and every shot. This is the key and the difference between a lot of players. Dukes and Clix are capitalizing on these small opportunities which get them above Storm Surge, and they're not going to have to worry about damage. It's enough to get above here, but not enough to be safe for the rest of the game, so we'll see them be proactive as we go into the moving zones. As we approach endgame, 5th zone is going to pull away from these two. Luckily, they built a lot of space in this area, so they have their old builds to get about halfway into the next zone. This is key, and using these builds and not spending more is one of the reasons why they're able to do what they do in endgame, and that's what we're going to find out here in a second. In 5th zone, it pulls back, they use those builds, and then they're going to go from tree to tree, fence to fence, rock to rock, make sure they're optimizing the number of materials they're going to use. Now, you're pretty much going to be forced to build in these rotations, so instead of just rotating through open space, Duke and Clix are going to find themselves rotating from object to object, refarming, and then continuing to move. In first moving zone, they're going to elevate off of low ground pretty much immediately. The purpose of this is so that they can use other players' builds to rotate through and save their own, and we see them do this to perfect execution. Now, it's going to save mats, but Clix also recognizes as they start to get closer to the safe area, this is the time to full tarp. Now, you don't necessarily want to be full tarping all the time unless you're slaying out, getting a ton of refreshes, but once downtime you always do is going to be once you're getting into the safe area. That way you can play out of some space that's already built as opposed to having to fight for it. The next zone starts to move and Clix is going to rotate immediately. This is to get the front side of moving zone and to gain priority positioning on front side low. They've been playing front side low a ton this season, and this is the magnificent change that I've seen from Clix and Duke, is they went from a team playing without a plan to clearly understanding how to control an endgame and control layers. This is what we see from them game after game, and that's why they've been so successful. Without having to spend and play crazy like they both can, both of them are some of the most magnificent fraggers in the game. They're playing calm, cool, collected, understanding that playing strategically is better than playing wildly and getting a ton of elimps. It's more consistent, and that's the change we've seen from them. They grab the low ground. This gives them the ability to refarm along the rotate, and they could potentially hold this position if the zone doesn't go up a hill. Of course, zone does pull up the hill, but Clix Snap immediately recognizes this as soon as zone pulls, gets the front side once again, and quickly elevates. He doesn't want to get buried on the backside of zone, and this is a game-winning play. It may not seem like much, but being able to get up this elevation, get on the front side and not spend a ton of mats or have to go through players to do it is huge. We see them run low on mats, but this is the time they choose to use their armored walls. They claim the front side low on this hill and throw the armored walls above them, then play out of this position with pretty much no materials. This is going to allow them to play out of here, look for some frags, and secure as much placement as possible. Now, you're not necessarily going to jump on a team that has armored walls placed on top of them, so this really gives them a strong priority on the ultimate low ground where players are going to drop down and they're going to bully them into different positions. Even though they don't pick up a ton of eliminations here, Clix and Duke force a bunch of players to move upwards, which normally happens from the high ground where players are forcing them down. They are forcing players up and securing many more placement points. As the game begins to come to a close, what Clix and Duke do is play within themselves. They're not trying to make that crazy hero play. They understand if they stick together, hold their shotguns out, they're going to win 90% of the fights that come to them. They make sure they're playing together, let the lobby do the rest of the work from them because they pushed everyone up, and eventually there's only a couple of players left. Clix and Duke have remained healthy this entire time, so they are going to be the healthiest in any fight and easily close out this game, securing the dub and closing out what has been a magnificent, wonderful season for them. I can't say enough about the improvement and understanding between these two, especially seeing how hard Clix has worked to become one of the better IGLs within this region. We'll have to see if he can do it during FNCS and call himself one of the best IGLs. Thanks for watching. Check out this next video.